So a movement calling itself Put South Africans First today marched to the embassies of Zimbabwe and Nigeria and Pretoria. They're basically accusing foreign nationals of being behind some of the social ills in the country, including human trafficking as well as drugs, and basically accuse them also of stealing South Africans' jobs. I want to chat a bit about this now with Dr. Emeka Ugwu, who is the president of the Nigerian Doctors Forum. And I know that quite a number of individuals from the Nigerian sector have also expressed concern about this march. A very good evening to you, Doctor. Thanks indeed for your time. So what are your concerns regarding today's march on, I guess, in this instance, to the Nigerian embassy?
Good evening, Criselda, and good evening to your listeners. We are deeply concerned when Nigerians and indeed foreign nationals, or specifically put African nationals of foreign origin in South Africa, are bashed left, right, and center by individuals or group of individuals for whatever reason. We are like endangered species, and we are always the scapegoat when things are hot in South Africa, and it's condemnable.
Yeah. I mean, Doctor, given the fact that we've seen some incidents of xenophobic violence take place in South Africa before, do you fear that perhaps this could stoke those kinds of attacks again?
Yes, of course. Making inflammatory statements and inadvertently apportioning crime statistics to certain individuals and trying to play on the minds of gullible people to stir up sentiments against certain individuals, foreign nationals in South Africa. It can only fan the embers of disunity and prepare the ground for unleashing xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals again, and we are quite concerned.
With that concern also, Doctor, I think there are some concerns, though, which I'm sure you'd also agree need to be addressed. I mean, the government here has acknowledged some of the concerns raised by South Africans of, for example, companies hiring foreign nationals over its own people, and they also complain about crimes committed by foreign nationals. I want to ask you this evening, what role have you played to address this with stakeholders here, or even with the government, with known, perhaps, Nigerian criminals? Well,
we are Nigerian citizens in South Africa, and it is now within our jurisdiction, so to say, to go after criminals in South Africa. And we cannot do that because we are not allowed to do that by law. There are agents of the state that have that responsibility to do that. And the onus is on them to do the needful to ensure that any person who perpetrates crime, be the person a man or a woman or from whichever country, is brought to book, irrespective of the person's position in the state.
Yeah.
But yes, go ahead.
Doctor, I was not insinuating perhaps that you should act as law enforcement, but what I was trying to get at is that I'm sure as concerned Nigerians living in South Africa, there needs to be a conversation that needs to be had perhaps with your community and other stakeholders as well, because there are many upstanding Nigerians, I'm sure, living in South Africa. But for example, I'll give you a case in point. Nigerian national Idiozi Odi, who was just the other day slapped with 6 life sentences for human trafficking and holding girls as sex slaves. Those are some of the things that some could argue fuel this kind of anger. Don't you think it's also on the responsibility of Nigerians, upstanding Nigerians living in South Africa, to have a conversation with the community of Nigerians at large, as well as South Africans, so a solution can be found to this problem?
Criselda, my position is that crime, no matter how infinitesimal, should be broadly condemned and addressed by all and sundry, irrespective of who is committing it.
Yeah.
So this narrative of apportioning blames to Nigerians or foreign nationals, it could be likened to a proverbial agenda of calling the dog a bad name in order to kill it. We believe the issue of fighting crime or the issue of finding solutions to crime is a universal call. It shouldn't be for only Nigerians. But having said that, anyway, we as Nigerian doctors, we are at the forefront of organizing and galvanizing Nigerians in South Africa in so many ways. Our motto, for example, is unity and integrity.
Yeah.
What that means is
So what responsibility do you have then, Doctor, to change this perception then? I think, that general perception that these are Zimbabwean nationals or Nigerian nationals, as the protesters put it, surely as a group of doctors who also represent the ethics that you speak about, do you not think it would be wise to have a conversation with your community, with South Africans as well, as it would be if I was interviewing a Zimbabwean national? I would ask, don't you think would it be wise for you to have a conversation with your community? Because somewhere we seem to be losing this battle in terms of how do we move forward with these kinds of accusations, which could turn very violent.
No, you are very correct. I actually agree with you that there should be discussion, and we all need to agree on what to do. We are ready at any time to be in a roundtable discussion with South Africans and with other nationals to assist in whichever way and form possible to address crime in South Africa, irrespective of who is committing it, whether it's by South Africans or Nigerians. And I'll give you examples of some of the things we had planned to do. What we are trying to do is to reintegrate ourselves into the minds of an average South African, to let them understand that when you hear of foreign nationals or Nigerians, they are not just all criminals. There is virtually no hospital in South Africa where you don't find a foreign doctor or a Nigerian doctor. Like this year, before the events of COVID, we had planned to have a soccer match between the Nigerian doctors and South African doctors. Just try to bridge the gap that usually exists between these two countries, and also invite other nationals to be part of it. And we are trying to also address this with the African development, other African development platforms, and also Nigerian organizations, trying to reach out to South Africans, have a community engagement. We had planned a couple of medical outreach just to reach out to Nigerians, to South Africans in their respective places. There are flood victims in Mamelodi, for example, a couple of months ago, where we bought things to go and meet them. Trying to propel our corporate social responsibility in that respect. We had met also displaced African nationals in front of the United Nations building as doctors. So we've done a lot, trying to bridge this furrow, so to say, or gap between us and South Africans or even other nationals. And we are open to do more.
All right, Dr. Emeka Ugwu, President of the Nigerian Doctors Forum in South Africa. Thank you very much, sir, indeed, for your time this evening. Let's move on to other news now.